Hey everyone. For number one, I put that the most astounding interaction was with one of the community members. Her name is Rena, and I absolutely loved watching her grow and become more confident in her abilities, her digital literacy abilities. It was incredible the leap that she had made. She was a bit shy at first, and that kind of carried on within the first few classes, but personally, I was always on the side that she happened to be on. It just worked out that way. And so I had a lot of interactions with her, and I not only saw her become more comfortable in a classroom setting, but she also became more comfortable asking questions, participating in a larger group, and ultimately she even became really comfortable participating in like friendly competitions that we would have in our workshops. She would like volunteer herself to compete against another community member. It was awesome, and it's that kind of confidence that you can't really put like I don't know, you can't really put like a price tag on it, or you can't put anything, any kind of other value on it because it's just so, you can't measure it. It's just so valuable. As for question number two, I have always had an appreciation for skills that sometimes people take for granted. Um, my parents are immigrants and I'm an immigrant, and so I learned kind of really young that the things that are taught in the U.S. that are known as to be like common skills or basic skills and to survive in a society are actually luxuries in other countries. And so I remember being super young and like being super aware of that. Um, and just on top of that, like my parents came from a small village where they didn't have a lot of technology, and they didn't even really have a phone until they came to the U.S. and that's when they were like 20 years old. So I've always had a really big appreciation for being able to be digitally literate and being able to be a digital native to an extent. Um, and I've also worked at Digital Charlotte in the past, so I, I've seen, have had similar experiences, and you would think that you would be like reach a certain level of appreciation, but that keeps growing, and it wasn't any different for when we led this workshop as well. I thought that I had, gotten to like the tipping point of appreciation, and I'm actually super shocked at how much more more appreciative I am, even after the experience is over, despite me having these experiences in the past. And in light of the current COVID-19 situation, my appreciation grew, but in a different way. So I'm currently staying at my house with my two younger sisters and my parents, obviously. But my sisters have both transitioned to online schooling for the rest of the year, and I never thought that it would be a difficult transition for my family. I don't really know why. I think I just assumed, oh, we have like proper amount of devices. Obviously, you can see in the back, like there's two of them. We have a laptop and like a desktop, so they're able to, work at the same time. But I couldn't help but think of like, what if we didn't have two devices? Like, would one be behind while the other one tries to get their work done? Or would there be enough time in the day if they had to share a device? Or I don't know. And that's like one of the reasons why I came home. Just like on a different note, like my parents help where they can, but like I said, they're immigrants, they're not digital natives, and you need to be able to function, like you know how to go on the computer and be able to do certain things on it, and if you don't know how, you can't really help. And my sister's young, she's a kid, she's still learning herself, and so it's difficult to try to help someone navigate through the online world when you don't really know it yourself. So I came home to be able to assist with that, but I couldn't help but think of families who didn't have that extra person that maybe could help in that sense, and the child was fully dependent on their parent, and their parent for whatever reason maybe aren't digitally literate, and so I really was present in that thought, and it's something I think of every day when I wake up, and I'm privileged enough to be able to work from home, and that my job gave me an extra laptop to do my work from home, away from dangers, and I realize that's a privilege, and it makes me sad, and it makes me fearful for the people who are either out of work entirely because their job can't go remote, or because they're putting themselves at risk every day because their job is in the everyday public. So there's like appreciation in those two ways, where I'm like appreciative of how I'm able to be a digital native and be able to have these digital literacy skills already, but there's the other side of where I'm appreciative that I am not like, my situation isn't as bad as like other people's, or like my family's isn't as bad as other people's could be, and definitely is. All right, and for the third question, How can we better serve? How can we be better at serving the community through digital inclusion initiatives? I think for a lot of people in our class, they're probably more aware of the digital divide in our communities, how harsh it is and how real it is. And although, like, I think taking that step of from doing nothing to doing something so big as like Digital Charlotte is doing is kind of a lot to ask, but there's definitely something that we can be doing more. Speaking for myself, if I'm not like working with Digital Charlotte, I probably would not have been working in the community helping build bridge the digital divide. So I'm with other people on this one too. There's definitely something I could be doing more. For example, you could be doing something on the smaller scale. Just looking within our own families. If there's someone in our family who has difficulty with technology and using the internet, I think sometimes people will often see this challenge in communities that are outside of our own, but chances are there are probably some people or even a couple people, maybe just one or two that are in our own community, that are in our own families, are having difficulty navigating technology and the internet. It's just not like a conversation you talk about. So I'm sure like if that conversation was brought up, you probably would be able to find someone in your family that could use that help in that area. For example, my parents. I know for a fact that I could be doing more with them. I could be doing my part in like assisting them and being able to help them, guide them through the internet and stuff like that. And I think it's about being active and intentional about filling these holes and finding where they are in our community and asking yourself, what can I do, and then actually doing them. So even if, like, for example, it's something small, like helping someone in your family, who knows what kind of ripple effect that can have on someone. Like, you may teach your mom something, and she may teach someone else later. And it's nothing is too small or too big of a gesture, I believe.